Hey guys, I thought I'd make a video a little more in depth about the Rite software that's actually on one of these Insight Pluses, because I've actually been taking it for granted. I was talking to Stephen Reardon about combustion analysis today, and he had mentioned something about the Rite software and didn't realize some of the things it did. And I thought, well, maybe I'm taking it for granted of some of the stuff it does do. So I thought I'd go ahead and I'm going to try to run my furnace on low fire to give it some out of the spec readings and show you some of the checklist items that this thing has. And then I will run it on high fire and show what got corrected, make it act like, make it think that, I corrected some items on it, and give you a rundown on what it can do. So first I need to go to menu, need to go down and select Rite. Always read the instructions before use. I have got an 80 plus furnace, natural gas, and I want to check combustion. Now I'm not going to turn it on just quite yet. I got to turn my, there we go. What this thing does have, it's waiting for steady state. So if this doesn't heat the house up before I get to the steady state, what it will do on low fire, if it'll last long enough on low fire, once the temperatures and everything settle down, it'll say, okay, I'm good, and you will see this light right here change color after it, and if you miss it, it'll say has come to steady state. It's like a yellow dialog box, and if you miss it, like you turn around to do something else real quick and you look back, this will actually change color. Instead of being, it looks purple to me right now, it'll turn to a blue. In the book it says it turns, I think, from red to green. So alright, now she's fired up. Let's go ahead and run this. My thermostat actually kicked off while I was setting up, so I had to go up there and turn it up a degree just so it'd stay in low fire. Hopefully it will stay on long enough to reach a steady state so I can simulate underfired situation. In the reference guide of the Bacharach, there is the notation. I'll show you this right now. For two-stage appliances, run the analysis on high fire only. Refer to warnings in the Insight Plus and Rite manuals, and always follow the recommendations of the appliance manufacturer. High fire. Don't run these things. Don't try to get these things into spec on low fire. If you got a modulating furnace or something that adjusts itself all the time, you got to make sure you got to have the gas valve running at 100%. If you don't, you'll be trying to tune this in to a gas valve that's only putting in maybe 60% of its capacity, and it's silly to do that. So running it at low fire, what I'm going to do, this is going to reach a steady state, and it's going to say, the O2 is going to be high. Stack temperature might even be low. CO2 is going to be low. And it's going to give me a checklist of things to check, which is a pretty cool thing. So let's wait here. I'm going to pause this now for a moment. Let's wait for it to get to a steady state. Alright, I had to turn up the thing kicked into high fire anyway. It ran for a little while, and then it decided, since it was 1 degree off, to go ahead and kick into high fire. So what it did, the screen flashed this little note. So once you get to that little note, you can press enter to get your analyzation. If you notice, the dot is blue, means it's reached a steady state. I pulled the probe out. I pulled back on it a little bit to cheat it, and just enough to where it's still got temperature and everything else. So you notice my O2 and my CO2 are off just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press enter to get my analyzation. You see my 9.8. It's red. I'm at the low end of my stack temp, and my carbon monoxide is within range. It says next. So let's hit next. I've either got too much air, I'm under fired, or I've got a heat exchanger issue. So let's say I want to check out what is a heat exchanger? Cracked heat exchanger. Okay, I've verified that I don't have a cracked heat exchanger, so I'm going to press enter and say that's okay. Or I can press enter again, and it says okay, the issue has been checked, it's been fixed. Well, with the cracked heat exchanger, you're not going to fix it right now, so you're going to say check, everything's good on that. So let's rule out the heat exchanger. Let's go back. All right, underfired. That's too much air. Primary air. Hit enter again. Or info. Check for the correct amount of air delivered to the burner. Okay, I know my primary air is good. It's an unadjustable burner, so I'm not going to worry about that. Air leaks. Check for air leak into the heating system due to faulty seals. Okay, checked everything. The unit's tight. We know it's good, so we're gonna say that is good, not a problem. Probe location. Okay, the probe location is in the right location. As far as how far it is in, yeah, you and I know that it's wrong, but let's say for test's sake that it's good. So I know that the probe location is proper, and I know it's the right height away from the draft inducer, so that's good. What about a probe leak? Check the tubing, make sure it doesn't have a leak. Make sure it's not cracked, drawing in air with the pump. Nope, I've got a good, the probe is good, the tubing is good, it's not an issue. Still got room. Test it at low fire. Test must be performed at high fire. Well, you know what? I did test it at low fire, so I'm going to check that. I did do that. That's the wrong thing. So that's what was wrong. So let's check out underfired. This is the other one. Gas pressure may be too high or too low. Let's say that was also the case. Let's say we were also a little off on that as well. Gas orifice. Check for the blocked orifice or incorrect size. We know that's the correct size. And clock the meter. Check for correct fuel input rate. Okay, it was clocked when it was installed. It was done proper, so it's back. So right now we've changed the gas pressure, and we did test at low fire first time, so it's two things we've done. Alright, now we're going to change it. I'm going to push that probe back in where it belongs. Right there. We'll let that stuff stabilize. Look at those numbers going down now. Put it on high fire. We increase the gas pressure to 3.5. It should stabilize any moment now. The numbers are really settling down. There we go. Turn blue. So now I want to analyze by hitting the enter button here. All the numbers are in the green. All the arrows are green, and it shows you your parts. I'm going to save that graph. Readings in range. Here's all the things that we checked off. Okay, I'm gonna save that by hitting F3. Alright, to print a report. Alright, select memory option, print report. Now I'm going to use the report that I made today. I know the readings on it are high. Not they're high, but they're like 8.8. I'm going to select it. I'm going to say, okay, add it. That's going to be my before example. And this is going to be my after example. Then I want my checklist. Okay, I want that checklist added. Now that my checklist, my before and my after have been saved and added, now I'm going to print that report. 8 to 16 inches away, no more than 60 degrees this way or this way. I mean, you've got a very limited band. And let's do it. All right, here's your report as it's printed out. Your name, information about yourself, your as found condition. Okay, this is actually the one I just did today. I know it's all good, but the as left condition, you'll see later it's different. There's all your numbers, draft reading. Now it'll tell you your as left condition. This is when you left. This was your other reading you took. This is after you fixed everything. You've got your O2, all your readings there, your new stack temps, your parts per million. And of course the draft reading is going to be a lot different because it's a different machine. But then you also have to add the checklist. What did you do? Primary air was good. Air leaks were good. Probe location was good. Probe leak, no. Gas pressure was modified. Gas orifice left is normal. Clock the meter, it was good. Cracked heat exchanger, no. We did test it at low fire the first time. So it's all done. And it gives you a nice report. You can just peel off and leave with the customer. And it gives you a good reference of what you've done. You know, you've got it in your memory, so the rundown is we're done. So the rundown to get that option is you got to go memory, enter, print report. You have to find your first report, your combustion report. It's got the low reading on it. Look at it, say, okay, I want to add it. Then you have to find your secondary report that's after you've left the premises. You know, here's what you left it, your as left condition. You see it there, you say add it. So now it's got your two reports added, but you notice it doesn't want to print because you want to see the checklist. It wants a checklist that you had to save. And I say, here's the list right here. I saved it. And there it all is. I want to add that. And then it gives me the option to print it out. It won't give you that option to print it out if you don't have the proper amount of data. So make sure you save the data as you're changing things, before you change things, your before you adjust, your after you adjust, and your checklist. What did you change? Check everything on there that you changed. If you don't check it, if you don't investigate it, it'll just leave it as a blank box showing that you didn't investigate it. So the Rite software is pretty nice. I've talked to Bacharach personally about doing something to keep up with Testo as far as being able to print these reports on PDF. And the short of it is, the gentleman told me that they will try to they're looking into making a firmware update to like this one here, and making an app to where this will flash a QR code on the screen. Take the phone, put it on there, you scan it, and it'll actually generate the report into a PDF form on your phone after you scan it. And that's kind of like the short-term solution. We talked about Bluetooth, adding a Bluetooth dongle to it, to an existing back rack. There's a micro or a mini USB right there, so they would have to somehow manage to add a Bluetooth function via the mini USB, and maybe to make it to where you can actually enter all the information via tablet instead of on here, kind of like you would with a computer. And then maybe long-term, make these with a Bluetooth option inside of it already, not have to have it right there, and make it more in tune with like what the Testo can do. You know, the bells and whistles that the Testo has. So that is a little insight, haha, on the FireRite Insight Plus on the TuneRite software, which is actually a lot neater than I gave it credit for. I'm used to it. I've never used another analyzer. Ralph, I know, bought a lower-end Backrat FireRite, and it doesn't have the TuneRite software. So you don't have those features of it holding your hand and leading you through and giving you a checklist of things to check. That is kind of nice. And I didn't notice until today. I was looking at some more videos of Testos. You pretty much have to wait on your own to watch it get to a steady state. This here will notify you, okay, it's satisfied, it's stabilized. You know, so you can go ahead and here's what your readings are. So it's a good instrument. You know, if you're going to get a back rack, I'd say get you the Insight Plus. If you want more bells and whistles like the Testo's got as far as graphical interface here and some more bells and whistles. It's really nice. About $1,200, not a bad price. So thanks for watching, guys, and I hope this helped you out a little bit. Bye.